Oh, I'm not here. Wait a minute. I messed up.
All right, we're getting everybody all loaded up here, guys. We are back with another episode of the Area 51 Alien Factory podcast here on our YouTube channel. We got a full crew tonight and a cast of characters for you, as always. And we have tonight going across the top. I want to start with our special guest tonight, Brandon Davis. He's here with us for this episode. Brandon, how's it going?
Doing fine. How are you?
Doing pretty good. We are excited to have you here. We're going to talk about a topic tonight with you that we have not talked about before in our podcast. So we're all excited about that. So thank you for being with us tonight. And we're going to jump into all kind of stuff with you just here in a few minutes. We got going across the top of my screen. Next up, we have the Admiral himself, Tracy Rumschlag, in the house.
Drop your beer, grab your gear. The Admiral's here. You all know, you like to hear it. So here we go. So how's it going, Mike? Another week.
Yeah, and this has been a busy week for me on the track. I know that a lot of times I'll do a lot of videos and won't race too much, but just cats out of the bag. If y'all don't know it already, there, you guys that are watching, is Darlington is my all-time favorite track in all of iRacing. So I put the video and content creation aside, and I just go out and race as much Darlington as I possibly can whenever it's Darlington week. So I've been busy on the track. So thanks for asking, Trace. And Brian Stewart, how's it going, man?
What's up? Going good.
What have you been up to?
I've been learning how to drive.
Oh,
Secret
yeah.
High intensity training part 2.
High intensity training. Been racing some fixed races, and
You've been racing some short track stuff too, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been racing some Legends cars. Yeah, been doing that, and trying to figure some things out here, get a little better.
I hear you. And then next up, and last but definitely not least, he is the star of the show. Well, we got one more I'm admitting while we're going to talk to Scotty, but we got Scooter, Scotty Stevens. He's in here with us tonight. Scooter, how's it going?
Hey, Mike, it's going good. It's going good. Doing a little practice at Kansas, getting ready for the race next week. I think we're ready.
All right. Yeah, well, you did real well at Kentucky, so I think Kansas is going to be, a pretty similar type track. So hopefully you'll be doing good this coming week too.
Yeah, I didn't do too bad at Darlington when I could keep from getting wrecked, but you know how that goes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the 4th place internet drop that iRacing needs to get fixed. That happened in the noon race. Yeah, I went from 4th place to 16th, lost 66 iRating. That really did stink.
Oh yeah, don't even get me started on the packet losses and internet drops this week. I think
2 days in a row.
Yeah, 2 days in a row on the midnight race for me at the same time.
Yeah,
like
you lost over 100. I know. So
I think I lost in those 2 races combined. I think I lost about 160 or so iRating. But something's going on with iRacing, and it's not just us. I've noticed a lot of people have had. I've noticed a lot more people dropping out with pack. It used to say like connection drop or failure, but now it's saying packet loss or something is the message everybody's getting now. But yeah, I've seen a lot of that. So yeah, you and me, Scotty, both we're it's not too good. I'm not happy with what's going on there. But also the guy that popped in last year to the podcast tonight is the man, the myth, the legend himself, Robert Cook. Robert Cook's been on iRacing longer than iRacing's been online. So, Robert, what's up, man?
Well, it's been going pretty good. I only started in 2009, so iRacing started with 2008, and then Papyrus days. But it's going. I only had one bad race, and that was with a lap car I bumped, and he got mad at me because he got loose and I hit him coming off at 2, and then I was trying to stay off him, so I barely tapped him again, and I went to the right of him, and he gassed it and just took me out, and messed up my day. But other than that, the rest of the other 3 races went pretty good.
I hear you. So you only raced what, 4?
Yeah, just 4. I'm more concerned. The racing's fine. I like racing the Darlington. It's just the other drivers I'm scared of.
Yeah, you're not scared of the track, just the other drivers.
Just the slow guys that don't know, don't know anything, how to get out of the way or.
Well, I hear you've been all in my ear all week long to bring up a segment tonight. So we'll do that here in just a little bit. So don't let us forget.
I
What
won't.
Tracy's done. I know. I'm sure you won't.
I'm going to call it the do's and the do nots.
The do's and the do nots. All right. According to Robert Cook, the man, the myth, the legend himself.
Could be a new weekly segment.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll let Robert lead it. I mean, Robert's been around so long that he probably stenciled in the do's and don'ts into a stone tablet.
Well, I've done them. I've done them.
Absolutely. So, all right, we're going to kind of kick off tonight's podcast with our first segment. I'm going to hand everything over to Tracy right now. We're going to get to know Brandon just a little bit better, our guest tonight.
Well, let me introduce who our guest tonight, and we want to thank you, Brandon. That won't be the last time you hear that either. So, thanks for coming to the Alien Factory for us tonight, Brandon Davis. And Brandon, you're going to have to help me out here. You are a race director and you also work race control for league races, right?
That is correct. I started out with Podium Esports, helping out the race directors there. And I was also working with MSRA to do some race
How long
directing.
have you been doing this?
As far as race directing, about a year from now.
Okay.
Racing as a whole, couple years, 2 or 3 years.
Okay. And what drew you to that? Somebody asked you to do it, or what's your fascination with that? I mean, because you're the first person I've ever ran across that's ever done anything like this. And I know there's all kinds of behind the scenes people, but I've never did much league racing myself. So I've really not got to meet anybody other than, say, the Coca-Cola guys, that series. And that was back from 2017, but that's been a long time ago.
Well, let's see. So it all started, I'm kidding. So I first started with dirt racing, moved up to like asphalt oval, got tired of public racing because it didn't seem like a lot of people knew what they were doing at the lower splits. So I started moving to league races where we focused on having fun and learning how to race along with other people. I started having fun with that.
That's a true statement right there. Very true statement right there.
Yeah, you learn a lot when you race with other people consistently. At that point, you'll understand the rules of racing, and then you can go, like what I did there is like we took our skills and went back into public racing, worked up our I rating and safety rating, and it really helps a lot. In the middle of all of that, I just volunteered to help out like admin races, like in case someone was just goofing off, we'd kick them out. So I started getting some experience there, and that kind of reflected on like when I started joining other leagues like MSRA, I express interest in helping out as much as I can. They said that they needed help with race control. I'm like, I can give it a shot. It'll be my first time. Never really done that in real life before or anything like that. So I did fairly all right. Made some people upset, I'm sure. It's a
comes
growing
with the
experience.
territory, If somebody's got to be the referee, I guess it's you. So
Yeah.
So when you're not being a race director and you're just, killing some time. So do you still race iRacing, or what are your interests outside of iRacing? Do you do anything else other than that?
As far as iRacing, other than race controlling, I'll sometimes work on a little bit paint schemes just for fun. Work on building setups with Race Pal Live with Michael Hall. He's been a great person to work around with, learn a lot from him. And as far as like
what kind of cars you're setting up there?
Most of the times just like the primary A cars. So like we worked on the Gen 7 cars.
Okay.
A little bit of the Gen 6, Gen 7. I thought about dabbling with other cars recently. Just haven't decided which one I want to pick yet.
So Brandon, what you said you were with somebody that's doing setups? Is it like a setup shop company? Like is it a group? Like who? I heard you say it real quick. So kind of let everybody know who it is you're working with and like what group it is, and if they sell sets where they can get them.
Okay, so yeah, Race Pal Live. I can't quite remember the exact URL, but
Race Pal
Live.
Okay, Race Pal Live.
So if you search him up for YouTube, not YouTube, just the website itself, you'll see that it's just a community where we just try teaching people how to build setups, how to like drive them.
So it's like PayPal, but Race Pal. Got it. Race Pal Live.
Oh yeah.
Got it.
So our main focus on like not necessarily making the fastest setups that might be like loose and whatnot where people can't drive. It just makes it something where it's consistent, where people can enjoy racing it throughout their night.
So if somebody wanted to get hooked up with you guys, where would they go to find you?
Let me find the website real quick.
It's important stuff, man. When you get the opportunity, plug your stuff as much as you
Oh, yeah.
can, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Might have to come back to that.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, we can come back to that later.
Are they
Yeah.
free setups you're offering? Or
Yes,
they
they
pay
are
stuff?
free. They are free
Okay.
setups.
I like to hear that, the free stuff.
And it's
That's-
actually like we have it in the license agreements where if someone wants to build off of that, they'll have to give it credit and they can't go around and start selling everything unless they violate the terms.
Put it on the notes because they
Uh,
don't look at the notes.
Check the
Yes.
notes. That's what
Yeah.
we've learned. That's what we learned here at the Alien Factory. Check the notes.
Always
yeah.
check the notes.
That's right. So, okay, well, that's good to hear. That's good stuff. So do you do racing outside, like any type of real racing? What's your background there? Do you do anything with, oval, dirt, whatever,
I grew up doing go-kart racing at like a NASCAR speed park down in Gatlinburg. Did that like every year. Was pretty good at it. We were going to start getting into like midgets if we could have actually afforded it back then.
I have a
Like, I say we
background
as
for
in-
midgets. We grew up with them. So yeah, I have my heart's towards those. Like, go ahead.
Little side note, if I say we, I have a twin brother as well. So he
Well, I
wasn't
knew you had a
able to join us.
brother, but I didn't know he was your twin.
Yeah,
He's my stunt double.
Oh,
that's
so you're
crazy.
identical.
I'm a
You're
twin, I'm a
identical
twin
twins?
myself.
Yes, identical.
Wow, Trace, are you identical twin?
I'm an identical twin. I'm the younger of me and my brother. Yes.
the younger.
I'm the elder.
I
8
kicked him
minutes.
out. See, I'm 4. They didn't even know I was there.
Oh, nice. Yeah, they didn't know one of us was there until like shortly afterwards. Like, oh,
Right.
by the way, there's 2 of them.
Well, at
Did
least
your
it
dad
wasn't. At
freak
least
out?
it wasn't the next day or something. Oh, by the
Oh
way,
no, I wasn't born yet.
I think they call that afterbirth the next day. That's not a brother, that's afterbirth. Anyways, we'll move on. So that's good to hear. So midgets, and then what else? Where did you go from there? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I almost went to midgets, but we didn't quite go there. So I just continued doing go-kart racing.
Part
go
racing,
to like
yeah.
go to full throttle and like 40-mile go-karts. Thought about going into like, I think there's a place in Cincinnati, but we started dabbling in drag racing at Killcare Speedway. My dad has like a 66 Ford Mustang.
Now,
So that's-
Killcare, I've heard of
that's
that.
cool.
Yeah, Killcare,
66
I've heard of
Ford
that. I'm
Mustang.
an Ohio boy myself, and you're from Ohio as well, right?
That is correct.
Okay. So Killcare, that's don't they have an oval track too? Is it drag strip?
They used to. They haven't ran that quite in a while. They kind of use it for like drifters now.
Okay, because I remember hearing about. So it was an asphalt oval, and now it's just a drag strip.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's where you go.
Yes. We try going
Nice.
there. Like they have a race every week or every couple weeks.
How's
They
that going
haven't-
for you?
So far we've only had 1 points week. All the other weeks have been rained out.
Welcome to Ohio,
So-
right?
Yeah. So my brother is the one competing for the points this year, and he got to the round of 8, and they had to call it because it got past 12 o'clock, so they had to shut
Had
it
a
down.
curfew.
So they
Yep.
so they split the pot, and every round you get is 10 points. So you got like 30 points. Went past 3 rounds, and so we're feeling confident. See what happens next week
Very
or the
good.
following week.
Very good. Okay. So
you
now
ever try to be? Oh, wait a minute. You ever try to be your brother and say, "No, I'm him. I'm racing today," or
as a double
as a double? Yeah.
stand-in driver.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
we decided I'll let him do it this year because we can't want to try to get as many points as we can. Don't want to take that away from him. I might steal some time in test and tune just for fun.
There you go.
But
There you go. Well, that sounds great. You got it going on both sides then. You're doing iRacing and you're also real racing. That's cool. So that's cool. Other than that, I'm more fascinated in your race directing and stuff like that. Is there any more you want to tell us about that? What you're actually into, what's involved with that? Because I don't know anything about it other than just you show up every week and make the calls that affect me, or my guys. So
yeah, so I'm pretty much started out in MSRA, like full swing, helping out with the truck series. Try to do as minimal impact as possible because you don't want to make too many guys upset. And one moment, my bad. Yeah.
He won.
Yeah, he won.
Anyways,
welcome to
so-
the show. Go ahead.
So I was helping out with MSRA, and then Podium was offering a spot because they wanted assistance with a ERA league. So I got to dabble around with like the big dogs, where like they spend like $5,000 purse in one night.
Wow.
So
So some of the race stuff you do is for actual money, right?
that is correct. Some of them are like big shots.
Yeah. So
I've
go ahead.
Yeah, so I've also done like the Podium 500.
What's the Podium
And-
500? Help me out because I'm not familiar with it.
So the Podium 500 is around like, I believe we try to do it the week before the actual Daytona races in real life. And it's mainly focused for a community event where we have like 200-300 people register for the event. We have multiple heat races, qualifying, last to qualify, dual races, and then the main Podium 500.
Now, is this the next gen car?
And yes, that'll be the current race, like the cup cars that ran
Okay.
by NASCAR themselves. So
Okay.
this year was the Gen 7 cars.
Is that what they call them, Gen? I know them as next gen. That's why
I call it Gen 7 because that's after
Okay.
Gen 6. Like
yeah,
I've heard a
makes
couple
sense.
other people. I just decided as a mental note, I'm going to call it Gen 7. People will follow suit eventually.
Yeah, it'll turn out you were right all this time.
Yeah, Brandon, that's how you become a trendsetter.
Yeah, there
Right.
you go. I'm not going
So-
to keep saying next gen. I'm just going to say Gen 7.
Well,
Right.
well, they're correct. You know, what's after 7? It's the next one. It's the next one. So you never have to put a number to it. It's the next
There you
one.
go.
All right, Mike. Well, that's about all I got for Brandon right now. If you got any more questions or anybody want
No. Now you told us about this one about you gave somebody a black flag and it cost them some money.
Yeah, you know what? I tell you what, guys, we've already hit about 5 or 6 minutes into what I was going to hit on. So let's just keep on rolling. We'll just Robert, you can have the last segment tonight with what you wanted to talk about. Let's just keep on rolling. So yeah, let's get into that. So you do race control, and so, and you race control in the only league I've ever raced in. At the MSRA, stands for Midwest Sim Racing Association. They have a few different series. They got their truck series. They have a national series, which is the Xfinity cars. And then they also, they used to run what they called, what would they call their last, was the Premier Series? Yeah. The Premier Series. But this year, there wasn't enough people that wanted to run the next gen cars. They just didn't like them, I guess. So all the people that were usually run the Premier Series, which was the A car, they shuffled them down into the other two. Most of them went to the trucks. So anyway, in the race control, I finally get to see your face, but you're the voice we always hear. You say race director, but whenever it pops up in iRacing, it says race control. That's what we always call you. Hey, it's race control. So here's what we want to talk about tonight. So first of all, some of the things that we talk about, the Podium series that Tracy had asked you about, and then the whole idea of league racing as well. So I think we'll start with just race control. Like, what is it like to be race control in a race? What do you do, and what is it like to be you?
So the first and foremost main thing that we try to focus towards, our main goal, is to make sure the race is running smoothly for us, at least the majority of people that we can help out with. Try to do as minimal impact to the race as possible, but there's going to be some cases where we might have to throw a penalty, depending on, like, there'll be different types of penalties depending on which league you're in and what the rule sets are. And that just makes it a little bit difficult when you're new in race control. But once you start getting the swing of things, you figure out the trend of like how leagues are ran and like how drivers react and what suits best for what situation.
Yeah, and so then there's also so you're alluding to basically manual intervention in the iRacing, the way they handle and administer the rules during a race, correct?
Yeah. So I've learned at least for the community events, it's best to leave it with iRacing default penalties as possible. There's a couple situations where we might have to intervene, but those are typically extreme, like if someone intentionally retaliates or if there's a false penalty, we try to clean that up.
And so yeah, false penalty. Yeah. So um we'll get into this here in a second when we talk more. We'll kind of transition into leagues, but Robert brought it up. So Robert, what was your question to him? Talking about the podium deal, and you're about to ask him a question. I think I know what it was. Go ahead.
It was something you gave somebody a penalty and it costed so much money for a black flag. That's what,
Yes.
Yes, so
So how costly was your biggest mistake in your in your manual
well,
intervention?
was it? No,
zone?
wait a minute. It wasn't his mistake. The guy made it right. So you just gave him the black flag. It's not like you created a black flag and gave it to him, right?
I so there's
Yeah, what
50
happened? Just what
so
happened?
there is in the ERA race, and there's 50 drivers that made it to the main event, and there's supposed to be 40 that transfer into the actual event. We didn't use a heat structure, so it wasn't automated. And I got a little gun happy and clicked one too many buttons and disqualified 40th place.
Oh, it was your mistake. Oh, I
Yes,
thought the guy actually. I
it
thought
was
the
my
guy.
mistake.
Oh, I thought the guy
He
created a good black
disqualified the
flag.
guy.
Oh,
Yes, I felt extremely bad the moment I noticed, like, because it turned out like the other guy was trying to ask a question at the same time, so it looked real bad as well because he just felt like we just ignored him and kicked him out because he's being annoying. But
And what was the purse for that race?
the purse itself was, I think, a total of $5,000, like $4,000 to the winner. It's like
Wow.
top five. So
Whew.
felt pretty bad on that one.
Yeah,
That's like
I mean, some of this stuff is big time that you're doing. I mean, you're in here and doing these races and stuff, and I mean, we're talking about some big money. You're a pretty important person in these races.
yeah, I try my best. There's going to be mistakes on every part, but I found I enjoy working with all the top drivers and top services that we have, the supplies, race directing, and all the different leagues.
So a lot of people that join iRacing, so they they iRacing has this big marketing deal with with NASCAR here in the US. And so like a lot of the NASCAR events, you'll see advertisements for iRacing. During COVID, they started the NASCAR Invitational, and then I think it's kind of an ongoing thing where they have a few races a year with their deal they have with them now. And so a lot of people join iRacing because they see it on TV and they see the NASCAR stuff and they want to come race the NASCAR races. So they'll start going through and they're like, oh, well, what's a license? What's safety rating? Like, how do I get through you? And so they start the whole deal of trying to learn what all this stuff is and start working through. And like, man, I want to get that A license so I can go race the cup cars, and I'm not knocking. I'm just saying, but that's a lot of the mindset people get and they want to get in. And really all people know is the public racing. So like, I want you to what is league racing and iRacing and how does people do it and how popular is it? Like, so because you're doing race control, you're not doing it in public races, you're doing it for league. We've been talking about league races, this league races, that. To the new iRacer that hasn't even discovered that functionality yet, help them out here, throw them a bone.
So in iRacing, like if you look on the portal, you'll see there's an option for leagues. You can also see like hosted events, though there's typically quite a few recruiting races. You can just reach out. There's also stuff on Facebook. There's like iRacing League page where you can find a bunch of different stuff. Pop a question like, hey, I want to race these types of cars at this specific time, and you'll probably get like 5 or 6 people messaging you like, hey, check us out. And I'd say just dabble around, just join a couple, see how it feels, see if you like the group.
So how do these leagues start? Does somebody just go create a league in iRacing?
Typically it starts out with a couple of buddies that want to like continue racing with each other. Like they might have a goal set. Like I joined one where our main focus was just improving others, like each other's driving. Like some of the drivers would stay up to like 3 o'clock in the morning after after a long race, just reviewing all the entire race, deciding like why things worked out the way they did, what could have went better. So it just depends on how you want to run a league, like what your audience is going to be. You can tailor different groups together.
And so like these leagues are kind of run like, say, like a bowling league or any other league, like a softball league. Basically, you have a schedule, and typically it's the same day every week, same time, same day every week. And they have it's a hosted session, like for the race session, and and everybody kind of goes in and they do their thing. They got organizers. A lot of them have, some of them have manual race control. A lot of them are broadcast, correct? I mean, like our rapid fire pizza league, which is the MSRA National Series League, which is the Xfinity Cars Open, but it's sponsored by Rapid Fire Pizza. And so it's every Thursday at 8:30.
Session opens at
Yeah,
7:30 and Central, or
yeah,
not Central. 8:30
is the race qualifying, and then those are broadcast. They actually hire a broadcaster, comes in, broadcasts these races. So I know a lot of leagues do that, and so that's pretty cool. So there's a whole, isn't there a whole community of iRaces out there that really only do leagues and don't even do open races?
I've heard quite a few guys decide like they no longer want to do public races. They just like prefer to race with people that they're familiar with. Once you find a group of people that you like racing with, you'll get like, it's kind of like art. You understand how everyone reacts around each other. You learn a whole lot more racing with the same guys.
Yeah,
Right, a lot of guys don't want to get into that toxic open environment.
Yeah, most of the time it can be clean. If it's luck of the draw. When you're first starting out, depends on if you join a bunch of public races where they think there's somebody that they might not, and they might need a reality check. When you join into league races, that's the administrations of the leagues can decide if someone needs to like tone it down, if they need to like, they have the option, they can like penalize people, hold them back, like a suspension where they can't race a couple weeks, let them like think it through. Whereas a public race, you can keep joining in every time, unless you get
right. And I think that's like so a lot of people complain, just like Tracy said, a toxic environment, like on the radio and stuff, but not just that, but like, I mean, it sounds like so you've talked about hosted racing. So if people don't know, there's like the open racing and iRacing where you're registered, but there's also a tab that says hosted, and a lot of people will host practice sessions for the week coming up. But what a lot of people don't know is people will throw up actual races, and they'll just do one-off hosted races here and there. And that's a good place to learn where you don't have to worry about your I rating or safety rating too much. And it's not that you want to cause problems, but there's a lot of guys that are just learning, and the higher I rating guys will get on the radio and berate them if they're slow or in the way, and they want to go somewhere they can learn. So they'll do hosted races and stuff. And there's, like you said, there's also people recruits for hosted races. But then the league racing, I'm sure there's leagues out there to help drivers, like driver development type leagues, aren't there as well?
Yes, I haven't followed much recently. I've steered away from doing like weekly races. I've been helping out more with race control and doing other things, but I'm pretty sure it won't be too hard to find race development leagues. I thought about kickstarting one back up again if I can get some interest in that.
My second league I was on, we had a truck league and we had a cup league. Back that's when Cup drove more like the Affinities now, and you had to qualify. You had to do good in the truck race before they ever consider you to race the Cup cars. And it was like you didn't do very good, you're going to be stuck in trucks until you improve your driving. Then you can move up to the Cup side.
Yeah, and so let me ask you about this. So if I am somebody who's you mentioned earlier, Brand, about a lot of times league races can be cleaner than open races. So obviously, there's the protest system, and everybody kind of rolls their eyes at that, because somebody can get protested, it seems like a zillion times, and iRacing keeps giving them little slaps on the wrist, like, gee golly, please don't do this no more. Like, you were at fault, you did it, but we're giving you a warning, and then they just get back in the next race, do it again. And people get really frustrated. So a lot of people turn to league racing to get cleaner races, right?
Yeah, that's correct. There's been a few times I've seen public races where you see the same guy, and sometimes you see the same team, and it's just one of those things, like, it's going to be a problem the moment you see him in the lobby.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure we all have a list of those in our head that we're like, yeah, I know a guy who used to screen the entry list before he'd register for a race.
I seem to remember this too.
I think is somebody like Mike?
Hey, Robert, now come on.
I only did that once recently, and that was like a Rockingham race.
We recently had that happen to us, didn't we? Get taken out by one team, three of us.
No, we ain't gonna
Yeah.
go there. We're not gonna go there.
Yeah, we're not gonna go there. But anyway, okay, so I'm gonna accept that premise that hey, a lot of guys turn to league races for cleaner races. So that doesn't just magically happen, right? Somebody doesn't snap the finger, oh, I'm in a league, so all of a sudden there's cleaner racing. So Brandon, as race control, please, you talked about league rules because open racing has their own rules and it's published in the sporting code and the iRacing rules. You know exactly what you can and can't do. Like in iRacing on double file restarts, you can pass, but only if you pass on the outside. You can't pass somebody on the inside for the start finish line. You get a black flag. We all know the open rules because we do those every day, right? But what some people don't know is leagues can create their own rules to make it more like real life, possibly, or whatever. And so I want to focus on rules and the idea of cleaner racing. So like, how can those rules result in cleaner racing? Like what kind of what are some examples of those and things that you've experienced as you've been involved in league racing?
So it all starts out when it goes on the green flag. I found quite a few leagues enjoy the no passing, like no changing lanes prior to the line. Most of the time it's not an issue, but sometimes if you don't have that rule out there, some guys might try cutting someone off right before they get to the line, which causes checkups.
Well, yeah, but hold on. That they might try the ARCA start. Tracy, won't you inform the audience about what the ARCA start is?
Now, I don't have any active knowledge of this, but what I heard is on the
oh, of course you don't have any active knowledge of it. Yeah, of course.
But yeah, sometimes you can pass on the right and get a big head of steam and not get the black flag, but it's fairly successful, I think. But yeah,
not that you have any personal firsthand knowledge.
I mean, I've never done it at Michigan, but it's a great place to try. Yeah, you can seriously improve your positions, seriously improve your lie. If you just slide to the right and get a jump on the guy in front, you can probably get about 3 or 4 people by the line. So, but that's only what I've heard.
Yeah,
from
three or four rows of people because you're getting both of them. Yeah.
Right.
Then you have guys that stay back like behind the pack, and then they get a jump start, like carry momentum as it goes green. They just will pass on the outside.
So you saw my race, huh?
Yeah.
I did not. I did not.
So Brandon, you know the ARCA start very well then.
I'm not familiar with that. Just from personal experience from public races, I've seen that.
Yeah. So
surprisingly, I don't think I've done that.
We had a league that wouldn't allow you couldn't pass anybody until after turn 1. And because we were having so many wrecks at the beginning of a race, so they made a rule, no passing until after turn 1. So you had to stay, single file or double file going into the race.
I've had a league try going that route before. I steered them away because I knew that's not treating the problem. That's just treating a symptom of the problem. The main problem would be trying to find ways to clean up the driver's act, which would be like penalty systems.
Yeah, that's what I was about to get in. So starting the race and not allowing changing of lanes and passing prior to start finish line. That's one way to clean up. So people aren't trying to ARCA start and do crazy stuff at the beginning like you can do in open races. Or public races. And so now we're going to, so now you're getting into, you just mentioned it. So I'll let you, I want to segue into that. Now you're talking about treating instead of treating some symptoms, treating actually the root cause of the problem with some of these other rules and penalties. So let's get into that. What are some typical ones and how do you think it helps clean up league races if somebody's wanting to race in cleaner races than public races?
So iRacing has a default, like a no fault penalty system where if you're involved in incidences, depending on the severity, you get a higher count. And once you get to a certain point, you'll get disqualified. Sometimes there's a penalty in between, like a whole 40 seconds.
Yeah, and that's something people complain about a lot. You don't know how many times I've heard of people complaining about that no fault incident system. The 4X, like people where they're trying to get their safety rating up to get to the A license, like we talked about when we started this segment, and work their way up. Oh, they hate that. Somebody bumps into them and they're like, it wasn't even my fault. And you'll hear them go on and on about how iRacing they shouldn't have got that 4X because it wasn't their fault. So that's kind of what you're addressing here with this stuff.
Yes. So that's where league racing has the benefit of the doubt. You can have real life admins reviewing incidences, determining if there's something at fault by the actual driver. You can eliminate the automatic controlled system where it disqualifies you automatically. And so then once you get to that part in league races, you can have admins. Like there's some things where you can have like a strike system where if you're deemed at fault of a wreck, you can have different penalties such as a end of line, hold them in the pits, or eventually like kick them out of the race, might look into suspensions. I haven't gotten to a league race like where we actually done suspensions. It's never gotten that extreme. Typically the person realizes what's going on. There's kind of a problem on the track and they typically don't invite them to further events. And that's part of like league racing that you don't get in public races. You can kind of like filter out the drivers that you do and don't want.
Purge the system.
Yeah, it'd be like, yeah, it'd be nice to do in some of those public races. Yeah, but that guy ain't getting in this thing. Ain't no way. So
you got the pit road violations too that people don't like in the open is, people driving through the pits, getting to their stalls. Now you have a rule on our league about that.
Driving through the boxes, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes. Like that can cause issues. Like if you're driving in the boxes, it kind of like ghosts your car where people can drive through you. That's why people like to do that in public races, but that also makes it difficult to find, like for other drivers to find their pit stall. And it also like ruins the simulation of it. Like I believe that's why we're all racing iRacing, because we like realism part in the racing. It is fun, but we also like some leagues like more realism into it. So we try to do like some leagues try to do like a 2 in 2 out where you can't go through too many pit stalls going in or out. And then you're also supposed to stay on the far right side of pit lane. That also helps clean up pit road where you get less wrecks in there.
Well, so that cleans up something that really bothers me in open racing sometimes, right? So like in open racing, like there'll be a caution or whatever, and we'll go into the pits and I'm just usually pretty chill. Like I go in and I'm like, I try to maintain speed and I usually typically go to the right just because that's just normally what we do. But there's guys, man, they're trying to pick up positions on pit road under caution. And they're right on your bumper, like literally like right on the bumper of your car entering pit road. And then they'll dive down below you and try to pass you below you in pit road. I mean, that's just insane. And then I get so mad if any of them ever blocks my pit box because some of them won't go down far enough. And I think they're probably doing it on purpose. If they were driving through pit stalls, it would be less of a problem for me because then I can still get to my pit box, but they won't. I'll be up in the top where you're supposed to be driving through. They'll go below me trying to pass me, and they may only get like a quarter up my car, and then here comes my pit stall, and I got to go left into my pit, and they're there, and I can't. I have to pretty much stop on the outside and get everybody behind me mad just to make my pit stall because that guy wanted to pass me on the inside. I've gotten so mad at that before, people trying to pass and pick up positions on pit road like that during a caution of all things. Like I know that like when under green flag pit stops that having a good pit, you can pick up positions legitimately in off pit road, but doing it during a caution, I just have rolled my eyes so many times seeing guys try to do that. And so those kind of rules really help clean that up as well, doesn't it?
Yes. Typically when you see something like that, like in a public race, it's one of those things are just, there's no way to have live admins reviewing everything. So they have an automated way, and there's no way of automating, like catching someone trying to cut you off. I think part of that is like the nature of racing where you try to get as much advantage to someone else as you can. So someone doing that to you where they get on your quarter panel, that prevents you from turning in, and that secures one extra spot plus a few others, like preventing other people from potentially getting an advantage that were behind you as well.
But technically that's against the sporting code, even in public
correct.
races.
And
but I don't think anybody ever turns anybody in for it. But technically it is. It's a competition violation.
That is correct. And not to put a red flag on me, but I'm definitely one of those persons that will protest that.
I mean, that's okay. I'm glad you do. I'm glad. I mean, because it's a pretty crappy thing to do to somebody, and it's really kind of a cheap way of trying to gain a spot during pits. And if you can't gain never mind.
Yeah.
Where's your
so-
soapbox? Where's your soapbox?
Yeah, I'm
well-
gonna stop because I'm just. I mean, it really is that one spot going to make you or break you, and you restart double file, so you may not even pick up anything. Like, so maybe that puts you on the outside. I mean, to me, that's just so petty, and like I don't think it really helps you. I mean, maybe if it's a green white checkered and you're the second place car and you're racing the first place car, and like maybe that one spot would win you the race. But like other than that, like I just don't get that. Like I just roll my
Well,
eyes.
let
every
me
time I see
add to that because I'm one of those guys that do that, and I'll tell you why. And I don't do it if I'm racing the guy in front of me, but if there is somebody that's in front of me that will not maintain pit road speed, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
reasonable, okay? If it's 1 mile an hour, I'm not gonna stick a bumper up there and hook a guy, okay? Or nor do I expect to be hooked. But if it's somebody I come in, behind that's a back marker or whatever, and they can't maintain pit road speed and they're gonna be Mr. NASCAR and go out there and do the perfect pit stop and all this other stuff, I guarantee I will be on that person's inside bumper. I will hook them 9 out of 10 times just for that very fact. If they can't maintain pit road speed, I may not be racing them, but I am still racing. Okay.
I go through the pit stop.
Yeah,
If there's if somebody's that slow,
Tracy,
3 or 4 miles under, 3 miles under, I go through the.
yeah, I do the same thing Robert does. Like I won't just stay behind them. I will do the same thing you do, but I go down and I ghost in the pit stalls, so that way I'm not keeping somebody from getting into their pit box. And I also don't want to slow people behind me. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I'm not just going to sit behind somebody doing like 10 mile an hour less than the pit speed either. I mean, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
I try to
Trace.
be lenient when I make decisions like that. If someone, like if I'm race director, I try to be lenient. If they're being slow, I'll allow it. As the main thing I'm concerned is if it affects someone else negatively, that's when we start intervening. We try to leave as minimal impact from race director as possible.
All right, so I want to get into kind of the last bit of questioning on this particular area, and it's I mean this whole segment on you and the race control, league racing, all that stuff, and the benefits to league racing. I mean, personally, I prefer public racing. I mean, I've done one league, and it's probably the only league I do. Probably the only one I will do. I really like the guys who run the MSRA league and stuff, and the broadcast. It's really cool. But so one thing that I have really been irritated about in iRacing in the past in public races is the automated system for penalties for like, different things is not foolproof, and it's not without bugs. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, and I have witnessed some in my public racing. Okay, and one of the bugs that just irritates me without end, but it's not too harmful, and you only see it like on short tracks, like at Martinsville, is whenever there's a restart. And, and there's, 30 cars in the field or even 25, 20. And there is a caution or a wreck prior to the entire field getting past the start finish line. Brandon, what happens in that scenario? I already know, but too.
I can't quite put my finger on it. I've seen so many different
it
weird
makes
bugs. So I'm trying to remember.
Okay, so what it does is, and iRacing hasn't fixed it, but it's not the worst thing in the world. But basically, everybody that makes it past the start finish line is on a different lap than everybody who didn't make it past the start finish line. Even though everybody's restarting on the same lap, everybody who makes it past is on a lap ahead. So that means everybody that was behind has to take a wave around or something of that nature. Like iRacing fixes it. It gives them all a wave around, but then that puts them in a wave around position. They're behind lap cars possibly, you know what I mean? Like how normally it sorts the lap cars at the back. So then if it's later in the race, it'll put maybe, 7 or 8 lap cars in between them and the other cars on their lap whenever they finally restart. That's one bug, but iRacing's never done anything about it. And I've noticed it just about every time we're at short tracks, but there's all kinds of other ones. And we've always wished, man, if they just had some like kind of manual person. Hold on one second.
Dr. Beeper.
Hey, Trace, you know where I'm going with this, so I'll let you go ahead and take over. My wife's cooking and the fire alarm's going off at my house.
Oh my.
It's burnt. It's burnt.
Okay.
Is that what
Anyways.
it's beeping? I thought there was something backing up.
Okay, never
outside.
mind. It's off now.
I was
She
gonna
must have
say
pulled
your
the
pizza's
batteries.
done, man.
Yeah, she must have pulled the batteries. Anyway, so Brandon, you do a lot of that, right? You catch the bugs and you do manual intervention, correct? So explain how that works.
I've learned from experiences. I'm not too happy about certain situations that happen, but what I've learned, I try my best to allow drivers to like catch up as much as they can. Who will try to extend a couple of laps. I've made mistakes in the past where like I just let it go because there's just too much time to invest in it. But I believe one of the systems that will work is moving towards like an honor system where if drivers are all saying that they need the one extra lap, I'll just like let everyone go around. I have a clear all button on my steering wheel, which helps out. Like it'll clear all the black flags on an instant. And post race, we'll have race directors review all the incidents, make sure everything was legit. And then we might have like something like if they gave a false assessment that they needed an extra lap, we'll put them at the end of the line on that lap.
Yeah, and I can think of some black flags that comes up in iRacing. Everybody gets irritated at, like for instance, like if you're Daytona or Talladega and you get wrecked through the infield and your car happens to tap the cone at the exit of pit lane and you get a black flag and you're like, you got to be kidding me, right? Like you didn't drive through pits, you tapped it because you got knocked down there. So most leagues allow for clearing of black flags manually by you, then correct? Like on that kind of situation.
That's correct. Most of the time, like one of those instances, race control is a pretty clear image of like, hey, this is what happened, this is how we fix it, like just clear the penalty, everything's fine. Whereas if it's a bug, you have to, like, if you don't do the honor system, trusting drivers and then going back and reviewing it, you'll have to figure out the root cause and then figure out where to go from there.
So what's the wildest, craziest bug you've ever seen in iRacing so far?
Other than going like Mach 7 in a cup car.
Do what?
Yeah.
Please
I went
tell.
like about,
Yeah, you got to tell us about that one.
I think I have a recording of it still, like it's archived, but eventually I could probably pull that up at some point. There's a bug on Talladega, like outside the pit wall, like outside pits, like just barely, I forget it was like before or after the checkered line. There's like this little break where you could actually drive like into the infield, but kind of like it glitches out where it's like there's no track there, so you like fall out of the track. But if you like balance it where it's like a 45-degree angle around there, it like shot your car straight up
in the air, like straight up, like
straight
a
up into the air. Yeah, like, but that's not the part where like I got that like Mach 7. That's like a Daytona race. Like we were just doing a fun practice session before a race, and one guy like hooked me on my inside, and I started spinning. And the moment on the back stretch, when I got off the track and hit the apron, it bugged out and like made my car like freak out because it was breaking the laws of physics, and it shot up straight into the sky.
Oh my goodness.
We said there's used to be some other tracks, like Michigan was one of them, and a couple other tracks used to be able to drive in the infield, and you can, and if you hit the spot just right, it would shoot your car straight up like a cannon.
I almost died. Like I almost killed. I was on the very front, and I saw in my rear view, I saw one car like tap the wall on the outside, and he just got flung all the way to the inside. I almost wrecked the entire field, dying laughing. Like I felt bad for the driver, but at the same time, I had to like pull off to the side, knowing there was eventually going to be a caution. I didn't care about losing a couple positions. I didn't want to wreck the entire field because I was too busy laughing. But
well, so now I'm talking more like scoring bugs. Like
it's going to get to that. As for the scoring bugs, I think the weirdest one was actually the couple weeks ago on the MSRA, the one where
the Dover one. Yeah. Okay. So okay. So we'll this is how we'll finish out the segment. Let's talk about this. So you tell everybody what happened, and then we'll talk about the aftermath of what happened. Okay, we'll just kind of joke about it and talk about it. So it involved me and Robert, but I was the one that got the most worked up about it because at this time, I'll tell you what, I'll set him up. So at this point in time, we're at Dover. Dover and Darlington are my two best tracks in all of iRacing. So I was hoping to get back-to-back wins in the league. And I had the fastest car on the track. I led the majority of laps in the race up until this point. And we were on like lap I don't know, it was like 90 to 100 somewhere in there, and like 155 lap race or something like that. I don't know. It was a pretty long race, 160 lap race, something like that. And so we're like 2/3 of the way through the race or so. I had led the majority of the laps. I won the first stage. So I'd won the stage. And so like I'm all worked up. And so now we're doing green flag pit stops. And like I had held out for a while, and I'm thinking, I don't know if I want, because you know how it is. I don't know if I want to go doing green flag pit stops, especially on tracks like Dover, where you go 2 laps down when you do one, possibly 2. So anyway, I go into the pits, and as I hit pit road, here comes the yellow flag as I'm going on the pit road, which isn't as bad as getting the full pit stop in and being 2 laps down. That only put me 1 lap down. So I'm going to let Brandon pick. That's the story. So Brandon's going to pick up, and then this is his absolute craziest bug ever as far as scoring goes. So go ahead, Brandon.
So I believe how it went down was the person that was right before the caution flag. There's like one guy that's 2 laps down, and he passed the leader right before the wreck. So he went to 1 lap down, and the leader got involved in the wreck throughout the caution, and the leader like disconnected or alt F4. I'm not sure what happened, but he just disappeared off the track, which kind of like glitched the scoring system on where the lucky dog was and where second place and everything else was. And I think it lit everybody that pitted during like the caution flag to go up to the front of the pack.
Right, and we were all right behind the pace car, right?
Everyone else,
almost
like,
everybody.
So everyone got stuck behind the pace car, like instead of the leaders, like because there's like one car that's like there's a bug between like who the lucky dog would be, because the person that just passed the leader, he's officially on the lead lap. So the iRacing wasn't going to give him a wave around because he's on the lead lap. He just needs a wave around 1 to green. So once it goes, so it lets all the leaders get right behind that lucky dog driver that's now just going to get a wave around, which prevents everyone else, like because of all like how everyone lined up behind the pace car, everyone was expecting that wave around. Well, now since that one driver was there, and then it let all the leaders get up front, there's no wave around for everyone else.
Right. So at 2 to go, whenever it sorts all this stuff out in iRacing, all of a sudden it has the leader pass everybody is supposed to get a wave around, and we were flipping out. And I say we, I mean it was like everybody but like 3 or 4 cars, like almost everybody in the whole field except 3 or 4 cars was good. We should have got the wave around to get back on the lead lap, and that didn't happen. And I about went bananas, right? Because that league at that point in time didn't have they didn't have an honor system rule when that was a couple weeks ago, like what you're talking about. If enough drivers say yes, we know, and the leader would say, yeah, I shouldn't be ahead of these people, whatever. If it was an honor system in place, you would have said, okay, fine, we'll sort it out after the race. But that wasn't the case. We didn't have that. You had manually reviewed all the manual interventions very quickly. Like, oh, hey, there was a wreck and I hit the pit cone because somebody knocked me down, and clear my black flag. Well, that's easy. You say, oh, that was the 5 car, and you review and you go, oh, yep, that happened. There you go, clear. I mean, it was really quick, like spot on determination so far in this league. Well, this wasn't. This was an absolute mess. And I was yelling, Brandon, just delay the start, delay. And you're sitting there thinking, I can't because I don't even know how to sort this out, right? And we go green. And at that point, I about lost it. So anyways, after the race, and even during the race, because I'm not even going to get into how I got ejected from the race, but anyway.
Oh, now we know you got ejected. Okay, that's another
did.
story.
Oh,
for
we
another
all
day.
knew he got ejected. We all knew.
Oh yeah, everybody knew I got
I had no
ejected
part of
from the race. So, but me and Brandon were watching this through like during the last 15, 20 minutes of the race, and we determined why it happened, and it was legit. And then after the race, you and Kenny and I think Timmy and a couple of the guys went in grave detail to find the bug. Like we knew that it was wrong what iRacing scoring did, and me and you determined that. But then you guys went and found the actual bug, and you said you might even report it to iRacing. Have you done that yet?
No, like that lost got lost in my mind.
All right. Well, anyway,
I think I still have it pulled up. I might be able to do that
so
sometime soon.
one of the outcomes from this is we had a powwow, a bunch of people in the league and the guys that run the league and you after the race. And then we decided that we're going to do this honor system rule in that league from now on, that, if drivers report and it's too complex for you to review on the spot, that you're going to say, okay, here you go, and do whatever an honor system, then you'll review it after the fact. And what happens if you review it after the fact and the driver was wrong?
So if the driver was wrong, we'll see what advantage was gained from that, and then we'll essentially revoke it at the end. So let's say if we give them a waiver round at the end, we'll just drop them to the end of the line.
Yeah, I think that was the general gist, is they will just do end of longest lap or end of the whatever lap there. What do they call that? Trace, help me here. It'd be
into the longest line.
No, not in the longest line. That's on restart. It's you're at the end of the lead lap, or end of you say end of lead lap or end of your lap, whatever lap you were on, you'd be the last driver on that lap that finishes, basically, is what they decided.
Okay.
So yeah, so that kind of stuff's pretty cool. That helps people that have a problem and get really irritated at some of these iRacing isms when it comes to the way they score. They can help out in the league. So, man, Brandon, that's all kind of good, cool stuff. Anything? Let's say me and Trace one day wanted to start an Area 51 league, or whatever, and we wanted to acquire your services. If there's any guys out there running leagues that are running like just iRacing scoring, and they want to get somebody doing race control. They're wanting to start a league and they want race control. Basically, anybody's operating a league and they would like to have race control. And they would say, man, this Brandon guy seems like he knows what he's talking about. How do they contact you? What do you charge to do it? What's the whole, how would they get a hold of you and how would they work that out with you?
That actually worked out because about last week I decided, you know what, I've been pretty relaxed on being involved in multiple leagues, so I've been thinking on getting started back up on that. We started like a website like davismotorsports.us. You can check us out. We do mainly like Friday night frenzy races that are meant just for the community to have fun.
So davismotorsports.us is how they reach you. Okay.
Yes. So they can reach me there. If it's like I try to help out the most I can. Like I thought like a general flat rate, like 10 an hour would be fair, or like 50 for an entire night or something. But if it's like something for like a community event, I try to I'll just volunteer for it. I'm not strictly after money. I like helping out as much as I can.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, that's pretty much all the questions I have. Do any of you guys have any other questions about league racing, about race control, or any of the other stuff that Brandon does?
I don't have anything other than when I first started, I got into a road racing league, and you were talking about reviewing the incidents and stuff, but they had two different categories where if your I rating was under 2000 and your I rating was over 2000, you were in two different groups there. And then they did go back and review the incidents. And I believe if you were involved in, I don't know if it was 6X or 3 incidents, I can't remember which, then you did get your fall into that system of, okay, we got next week, if you hit somebody, you're done. You sit out for a week or whatever. But I do remember going through all them protocols and like that. And personally, I do think it's needed because there's some things that iRacing doesn't have incorporated. Obviously, they don't want to micromanage it to death. But with the league racing, it is more structured and you're a little more lenient when you race, or for the most part, hopefully you would be lenient on the other people as you learn. And that's what I was doing, was learning iRacing and road racing at the same time.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely help with racecraft, those penalties, Trace, like EOL and stuff like that, because I know this last week I won the Darlington race in our league this week, but I passed as I had to start at the back because I didn't qualify because I was messing around with the kids, trying to get in bed and everything. And I got in last minute and didn't qualify. And so I had to work my way all the way through the field. And I did not win the first stage because I was still working my way through the field. I think I started in the top 5 when I was in the top 5 when the stage flag dropped. But anyway, there was a couple of times, especially in the latter half of the race, when I was passing second place, when I was passing second place and first place take the lead, especially those 2 times. I was super careful, and I was burning a little extra tire to make sure I stayed away from him and didn't touch him, because I didn't want to have a caution where I was deemed, where I would be deemed at fault, and then get sent EOL on the restart when I would just work my way all the way to the front. So and I think that if you're the guy defending, you could actually that could actually be to your advantage with some of these league rules. I mean, I'm not complaining, but I'm just saying that would definitely be to the advantage of the person.
Well, it goes
ahead.
to who that goes to the rule. The one who's doing the passing is the ones who's responsible for a clean pass.
That's what I'm trying to say, right? That's what I'm saying. These penalties for incidents and EOL and stuff gives a slight advantage to the person that's ahead. The person passing is at a slight disadvantage because you got to keep it clean, and if you don't, then you're going to get penalized. So you got to try extra hard and burn extra tire.
Well, that's when race control comes in. And, hey, this guy, he just moved down on you and made you wreck him.
So my major rule on that was, so doing one move is not necessarily a block unless it's like they had to check up or they had to swerve to avoid you. It still falls under responsibility for both drivers to drive responsible on that aspect. You can't just expect someone like cut you off while you're trying to pass them on the inside or outside. If you have a run, ideally you should let them by. Like, it differs between oval and road courses, but in general, when everyone's in a pack, my rule of thumb is you can make a move to drive defensive, but if the other person crosses you and starts going the other side, the moment you try going back up, that's considered a block. And as long as if you get in contact and cause a wreck or something like that, like you spawn that driver out because he started blocking instead and you didn't want to give up that position, I typically turn a blind eye because you just did that to yourself. So it's kind of like one of those things, like in public racing, that like incident counts might dock you on that. As for like league races, it's one of those things like you learn to drive people with respect.
Yeah, but I guess what kind of stuff I'm talking about be like maybe not blocking, but pinching somebody's exit over and over again so they can't get a runoff or something. And where like if I was in a public race and somebody did that over and over, like 3, 4, 5 laps in a row, even though I was like a lot faster, they were intentionally pinching my exit. In some tracks, that's more harmful than other tracks. I mean, harmful. I mean, like, is some tracks that kills your exit more than others, pinching somebody down. And so like I might just say, you know what? I'm just not going to worry about it next time, and not try to wreck nobody, but I might door them a little bit on my way out to get around them. Where in a league, where I might be winning the race, if I might be in a position where I got a fast car and can win the race, I might feel like I can't do that. So that's the only. I'm not really complaining. That's the only. If I'm looking for negatives, that's the only negative that I could find with those kind of penalties. But there's a lot more positive.
With 10 laps to go, you have to me, you have every right to hold that position, and you might make it a little harder to make him pass you. But like Brandon said, if you make a double move, you try to do here and he goes high and you try to do that, that's a different story.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like an art with race control. You learn how everyone races with each other. You can determine where a problem might arise. Like you can get a good sense, like, being as race control in general, like in multiple different leagues and different public events that can occur from hosted events, you learn what to look out for and like what to expect. And there's been some times where I've seen someone make dirty blocks and all that, and we'll see like they might have shoved them off the track, and then we see that car work his way back up. You can bet I was sitting there thinking, I hope he moves him back and gets that position back.
Now, road
as long as it doesn't cause a wreck.
On road courses, if you have a quarter pounder on them, then you have the right of way. Is that right?
They have to give you the race, like they have to give you that line. Groove. Yeah.
The line,
racing,
yeah.
Not the line, but like if you're racing defensive, you can keep your line, but you have to make sure you give him a line that he can maintain.
Yes. Okay.
Now, Brandon, let me ask you this. This is another thing that I was made aware of too. With all these leagues that are now trying to get airtime and broadcast their actual league races, I think that's where a lot of you guys come in, is because they don't want the caution flag 500. They want guys racing the whole time, because first off, I think the league air times are limited. So at a certain time, you go off air. And I know they don't want to complete those races after that time limit, you know? So I know that was one of the number one gripes from the people broadcasting is, hey, we're giving you X amount of time to put this race in. You got to get it in. And that puts the pressure back on the league for the drivers to complete the race and not just sit there and turn it into a demo derby too. I know that's, I believe it's the PRL. They put a lot of emphasis on that. And that's why they purge a lot of drivers that don't do the racing. They just want to be a jam car out there.
Okay, yeah, I can see a bunch of different leagues having issues with races that are like caution fest, like Martinsville, like the paperclip. That's typically ends up being a wreck fest in itself. There's going to be some races where you might run into it where you can expect a caution fest, cautions breeding cautions.
Right. And then, like I say, these leagues, they just want to make sure they tidy up the racing and give and take, you know, because at the end of the day, yes, it's racing, but secondly, it's a show. You know, people don't want to sit around and just watch the caution flag for 45 laps or whatever. Some of like these public races, some of them are just ridiculous. You go to Pocono, you got to rent a room just to get a caution lap in because it takes 2 minutes and something to get around there under caution. It just takes forever to get back to green. So, but anyways,
the beauty of league races, you have the mindset that if you can't get that one position that at that moment in one race, you still have the next week, you can get them back. And you have more to look for. Like in a public race, you just have like, you can gain I rating, lose I rating, depending on refinish, and that's it. Whereas if you go into a league race, there's something to look for in the long term. Like if you consistently stay clean, you might not be winning every single race, but if you're like getting like top fives and whatnot, you'll be doing pretty well.
right.
So-
And I think a lot of people, you know, gravitate, and I've heard this from other drivers too. They like getting away from the I rating, safety rating system, and that's why they like doing the league system, you know. And I ran league back in Papyrus days, so that's going back being very archaic. But that was fun. I enjoyed it, and I was successful at it too. Fortunately, I was a 2-season champ. I won, you know, the championship twice. And the guys I raced with were nice, and it was just a fun time. You look forward to spending that time every week with those guys. You know, that's what I liked about it.
All right, yeah. So with public races, you might not get the same driver every week. In the league races, you'll get the same guy. You'll grow a relationship.
Right. Totally agree.
Well, also, you know, this one guy, if you're racing a league race, you know, this guy's not going to, you can pass him. You don't have to worry about him wrecking you or turn you. You know, you have a friendship developing with the guys out there. And you can, you know, most of the time, sometimes. Yeah. But most of the time you can, you know, you can assure yourself that I'm going to pass this guy and he's not going to do something stupid.
Yeah, absolutely, Robert. Absolutely. And I think that's kind of going to lead me into our next segment because we develop a relationship with a lot of people, not just the guys in the league, but the guys we race with. I know that the guys we race with each and every week in the public races as well. I know there's a lot of people that are transient, you know, in and out, but there's still a core group of guys. And there we go with my wife cooking in the fire alarm again. Oh my goodness.
Give her credit at the end of the podcast. You okay, Mike? You gonna be able to do this?
I guess depends on how much she plans on cooking. I think she pulled the battery out again. Anyway,
tell her don't put battery back in there after she clears the fire.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, Mike, if the smoke gets too heavy, please just walk away.
Yeah. So we look each and every week at our standing sheet here in the public racing. And for some reason I had it pulled up, and then
by the way, Brandon, this is our favorite segment right here.
Yeah, we look and see who's hot and who's not.
That's right. What's hot and what's not.
And so we got here our standing sheet here for Xfinity Open, and this is for Division 1. And I want to look at championship points for the week. Darlington is one of our favorite places to be here at Alien Factory. At least it is for me. And we're going to look at week 12 only here in the standing sheet.
Spoiler alert, I see Tommy Gossett on there.
Yeah, he is our buddy Tommy Gossett. We got Jonathan Dalrymple. He won the Monday night strength of field race. Myself and Robert and Scotty, we commentated that.
He's a
and
dominant force. I see his
He
name up
is.
there every week.
Oh, he's good. He's good.
Good
Yeah,
man.
we broadcasted that SOF race on Monday night as we normally do, and yeah, Jonathan Dalrymple got the win there. I believe Dustin Montgomery came in second. They were your top two finishers in that Monday night SOF race. I don't, and then Anthony Federico, I'm not sure if he was a third place in that Monday night race or not, because I know once you get into about third place, you could have raced like a slightly lesser strength of field and won and got maybe possibly more points. But Anthony Federico was the third place championship point getter. So Jonathan Dalrymple got 252, Dustin Montgomery got 231. Anthony Federico, 229. Then our buddy Tommy Gossett, he either picked up a win and at some point and got to 220. You've got to be kidding me. This is ridiculous.
Anyways, so not only is Tommy on there, but I noticed that we've got the rivalry. Cody Trelindy's in there too. So Cody and Tommy are buddies. I know they go at it back and forth every week. So it's good to see they're close.
Yeah, that I see that too. And we got Tyler Justice in fifth place, 214. Mike Bruno,
Always a good driver. He's a good guy.
a regular stay here in the top 25
He's
page.
tough.
He 212. Justin R. Smith, 208. Our Cody Trelindy, who has been leading the overall points in B Open, is an eighth place this week in championship points with 208. Brandon Schmidt, 202. I believe he's a pay to win driver, I believe. And then our old former teammate Douglas Bell, just under 200 at 192, rounding out the top 10 this week in B Open. It was a tough week, and I tell you what, the toughest thing this week, Tracy, for me, and as far as championship points go, was just trying to find a high strength of field race. I think the highest one, since we broadcast the Monday night SOF race, I'm not getting in it to race it. So I'm struggling sometimes like this week to find a high strength of field race to get into. And I think the highest one I raced in was like 3,100 strength of field. And I did rather well in that one. I think I got third place. So that was tough. And I think the reason being is a lot of the guys that have higher I ratings don't want to risk that I rating here at Darlington because, there's a lot of wrecks, lap traffic struggles a bit at Darlington, hitting the wall and different things.
If you look at the starts, there's a lot of one and dones and two and done, three and done. So they get their participation and that's it.
Right. Jonathan Dalrymple raced the strength of field race
One
only.
and done.
Dustin Montgomery had 8. Anthony had 3. Tommy had 7. That was a lot.
You had 2 that you got kicked out of.
Yeah, I had 2. I got kicked out of at midnight. Yeah, that's a whole nother story. But
200
anyway,
some
You'll be
points.
on another page. That's all.
yeah, Kyle Myers had 1. So you're and also some of the higher I rating guys would race their Alta counts this week when they did race, other than their couple of high strength of field ones. Which then that's a whole different story. It brings the strength of it takes the problem of having lower strength of fields the rest of the time and makes it even worse because somebody has a decent I rating, they won't get in it with their main account. They're getting in with an alt account that has a much lower I rating. So again, that pushes the strength of field down even lower. So yeah, it was just difficult to get in any kind of a race that had a decent strength of field this week because of that. So that's what's going on. Let's check back in here with the overall points leaders here in Division 1. See if Cody's still at the top. Yeah, Cody Trelindy's still at the top. A close second, Brandon Schmidt. Cody's got 2,464 total championship points for this season. And Brandon Schmidt is right on his tail. 2,445. That's a difference of 19 championship points is all that separates.
Bruno's doing pretty good.
Place.
He's in third.
He's in third, but now there's a good 240 242 championship points between Bruno and Brandon Schmidt, who's in second. I mean, compared to only 19 between first and second place. So Cody Trelindi and Brandon Schmidt are definitely dominating so
Well, I'm
far
just
this
saying,
season
being in
championship
third points period in points, and Tyler Justice being that high up in points right now. And
Well, we've talked about this before, Robert. I mean, the Division One is the best of all the guys in oval racing and Xfinity. And if you're on the top 25, that means you're the best of the best. So just showing up on this top 25 page means you're the best of the best. So I mean, they're obviously good, but Mike Bruno's in the top 3, so he's rock
Well,
solid.
Right. And I want to give Tommy Gossett a shout out because I think he had a setback over the last couple weeks. He lost his team or something, and he's still doing good. So I got to give him a shout out. Keep digging, dude. I mean, keep doing what you're doing because obviously it's working. So
Yeah, and Tommy just made the Road to Pro cut. So he's into the second round now, I believe.
good
So
deal.
that's awesome too.
Yeah. So congratulations, Tommy.
Absolutely. So guys, it is time. It is time.
the walk of shame.
Well, we're gonna call it the wall of shame. We're gonna go to Darlington this week and we're gonna look at raw incident points. And to be honest, I might be on here somewhere because I had this race, one of these midnight races Robert talked about. I got kicked out of 2 midnight races 2 nights in a row, like clockwork. And I got back in, I got kicked out again. And yeah, you're on. Yeah, William, I'm getting ready to switch to all divisions here. So anyway, I got kicked out, and one of the nights, the second night I got kicked out, and I come back in, and all of a sudden I come in, I got 16X, and like they came from nowhere. Like I never hit anybody, nothing. My car was in perfect condition.
And no tires left.
Yeah. I had no tires left and 16X when I got back in. It was just nuts. And so then I got hit by somebody and went down the inside of the track and hit Robert. I got 2 4Xs in a row, bam, bam, right from that. It bounced off one guy into Robert. So I ended up having like 24X in one race. So I'm just giving you a spoiler alert.
Well, we can hear your side of the story once.
He claimed he didn't see me. He claimed he didn't see me.
I may actually be on here this week. So let's
All
see.
right.
Here we go. All divisions. Here we go. All divisions
Drum roll,
and be open,
please.
sorted by incident points. Here's the drum roll. The wall of shame. Here we go. Wait a minute. Where's the incident point?
You're
That's
still on
championship
champs.
point.
Yep.
There we go. Incident points. Here we go. Da-dun. Actually, not that bad. There's somebody had 100 total incident points for 12 starts. Guys, I would expect much more at Darlington. I really would. Last week we had somebody that had 240 some, I think.
Yeah, but on Darlington, you got that whole apron. You can go down there and probably bring out a yellow, but you're not going to bring out a caution. Maybe 2 point, maybe a 2 or something.
Let's see here. 100.
I see some guys that I was racing with this week on here. That's for sure. I'm glad my name's not on this list.
Well, 100 divided by 12 is 8.33. So that's not too bad. 8 1/3. Let's see what else we got in here. So the second guy on the list has 90. Let me bring up my calculator here again. 90 divided by, he had 10 starts. So that's 9 incident points per race. So he's the top guy so far per race. What else do we got here? 80 and 7. I'm not sure if that'd be more or not. Let's see.
Yeah, it's going to be more.
80 divided by 7. That's that's 11.4. So far he's our winner so far. Was it Anthony Passero? I think so far he's the guy has the most incidents per race this week. Let's see what else down through here. Let's see. I had 13 starts and 52, so I'm not even close.
Yeah, he's in Division 7. He's still new.
Yeah, he's still learning. So I'm gonna go with that's all right.
Where's
So
Mike Howerton's is 14th. There we are. We found him.
yeah, but I had 13 starts with only 52. Mine isn't that high. I mean, really, other than
You're
that,
on the first page. You're on the first page.
well, other than that race with 24X because of the 16 Phantom X's that I got. Other than that, I hadn't really had hardly any X's all week. So So really, it hasn't been too bad. So all right, so here we go. So our raw top incidents this week is 100 by Joshua O'Connor. He's Division 3, but I've raced with Joshua. He had 12 starts, not that bad. If you do average incidents per race, that's not too bad. So even though he's the raw point incident point winner, he's not the incident per race winner. The incidents per race winner is Anthony Pesriro. He's a new guy, like I said, Division 7. So man, he's just learning, cutting into the slack. So if you see Anthony on the track, give him a shout out, say hello.
Say we saw your name. We saw your name.
Yeah, no. We're not beating up on him, but just say, hey, give him a little bit of extra room. He's
Show him some love.
Show him some love. Give him some extra room and encourage him. I think as we all go through that, we need an extra bit of help and a little bit of understanding as we're learning. So,
and Anthony, if you're watching, we'll do some secret high intensity training with you if you want.
Yeah, come see us. We'll help you out.
Yep. So just slide on in. We'll spend some time with you, see if we can get you racing a little better. And as a disclaimer, and we do this every week too. So if your name is mentioned, we would love to hear your side of the story. So don't, and I want to share this to everybody too, for all our viewers. So don't go running to iRacing and say, hey, these guys are bad mouthing us. And because that's what happened. That was just brought to my attention that one of our viewers knew the person that we had used on the show, and they were fairly upset about it. But instead of them reaching out to us with their people to get together with our people so we could get together and have a thing and hear their side of the story, they're actually protested us at iRacing, and iRacing sent them to YouTube. So we'll see if there's any repercussions. We might lose our yeah, we might lose a viewer, but yeah, I was just made aware of that situation last night. My little inside source told me that. But you know what's nice? They're both subscribers. So thank you for viewing the channel.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know Joshua O'Connor, man. He's probably like race with him.
Yeah, I think, we raced together.
Yeah, so Joshua, if you actually like to come on the program, you just come on, we'll chill and hang out. You participate. It'd be fun. You can tell us how you got that 100 this week, but that wasn't bad. As
we probably know someone probably hit the wall in front of him. He had no place to go and hit him.
Yeah, and he got cleaned out.
It's not his fault.
Somebody with internet problems. Is that what you said?
No, someone hit the wall. Yeah, maybe hit the wall.
Yeah, but so Josh, come talk, we'll hang out. We all like you. You're a good guy, good racer. We all like you. Come hang out with us. You can tell us about those incident points. And then Anthony, man, come hang out with us too. We'll give you some help. Tracy will get you on a super high intensity training program, and we'll get you from 11.4 incidents a race down to something like 4 or 5. I think we'll be good to go.
No,
at least your crew chief won't be mad at you, and the body guys won't be mad at you either.
There you go.
So anyhow, so that's what I got.
Yeah, well, that's our week in review.
We got one more. We got one more.
Yeah, hold on. I'm not Robert. Now settle your
okay.
Robert, Brandon's the guest this week.
Yeah, well, we've already done our thing with Brandon. Brandon can participate. But anyway, that's our week in review for the B Open that we do every week, because that's what we drive in mostly here. And we drive in all kind of stuff, but that's the series that we're serious about here on the team. We build for and that we race in together all the time. So we always like to do a weekly roundup and review, and we always finish with the wall of shame and who the top incident getter was and incidents per race. We like to have fun with that. It's all in good fun. Really not being derogatory towards anyone. So anyway, that's our week in review. Now, Robert, you have been on me all week, Mikey. If you got,
we got to do this.
Mikey, you got to do this. Mikey,
now wait a minute. I'm going to say this. You might get something from my racing on this one. Okay, you might.
I might. Well, anyway, I don't know, Robert. But he's been out all week. If you looked at these videos I sent you, if you made a video of it, can we talk about it on the podcast? So, Robert, this is your segment, man. You're featured. There's a subject you want to talk about tonight, and I'm just going to let you have at it. That way, iRacing can call you and talk to you.
Well, you had the clip. Okay, you had the clip. I got him.
When you tell me to go, I'll bring it up and I'll share.
Okay, on Darlington, there's places where you can pass and not pass and pass cleanly, and it's in turn 1. The guy on the bottom line, but should have the racing line. He should have the right of way or whatever. The guy on the outside should back up a little bit and let the guy go, because the guy on the outside most likely is going to hit that wall. It's going to be on the outside. what
Well,
I have
Robert,
here
we,
is
Robert, we talked about give and take earlier, and I would say Darlington, just in general, if we're going to have a good, clean race at Darlington, that everybody on the track needs to do a bit of give and take, right?
yes. Darlington is a give and take. Like coming off of two, going side by side, someone on the inside probably going to hit the wall.
You mean
or
on
he's
the
going or
outside?
on
Yeah,
it. Yeah, he's going to
And
hit
so-
right
so-
on the outside. He's going to hit the wall.
So there's two places to pass in Darlington, right? So what are the two places? I guess they're turn 3 and 4. Obviously, you can go too wide, 3 and 4, no problem, right? There's two decent lanes, and two cars should be able to make around no problem and pass there, right, Robert?
Right, that's correct.
And then
And going into 3, you can have a good run on the inside or outside.
Yeah.
And
So
most
going
times,
into 3, coming out of 4,
someone
in the middle
still,
of 3 and 4.
the other person should lift. The other one should
Now
lift.
what about turn 1? I think that's another place you can pass going in, but it takes a little bit of
I think the guy on the outside needs to lift because
yes,
the
it
inside,
takes a little bit of cooperation.
the
between two
inside
people.
guy is going to drift up because the momentum he's taking,
Right.
and that's about it. I think.
Yes. And so, but in order for the turn 1 one to work, you would say then that the person on the outside needs to say, hey, that guy's got to run on me and he's got some car on me. I'm just going to lift in order to, it's got to be a teamwork type thing.
Right.
And
If you're going to go in there side by side, expect something going to happen.
All right. Brian, have you raced any races at Darlington this week?
My skill set is not for Darlington this week.
Oh, I was hoping maybe
Not.
get your input. You've been pretty quiet all night. I figured I'd get your input on this.
No,
If you haven't raced any, then you wouldn't have any experience.
I've practiced Darlington all week. I'll probably throw one in tomorrow, and that'll be it for me there. It's
One and
too
done.
tough for me to tame.
There you go.
Now, interesting topic. Are you guys looking forward to the Retro 500 with the podium?
Yeah, that'd be actually kind of cool. I watched it last year. With the 87s is what you're talking about.
Yep. We
Yeah,
raced
it
with
was
the
at
87s.
Darlington.
Last year, I think we did like 4 weeks of qualifying, like top 10 from each race, made it into the main event.
Yeah,
Might do a little bit different. I don't have like final say or like what word we're doing yet. We'll still have to reach out for that, but we're still looking forward to that.
nice, absolutely. So Robert, so now
I'm ready for the clip.
Yeah. All right. So you've been in. So because you've talked about, and I've questioned you because you're the featured person in this segment. I've done some questioning with you. So you've talked about, and we've discussed like where you can make passes at Darlington in the one place. So in anything revolving around 3 and 4, you don't need cooperation. If you're faster, you can usually dart into the bottom and just do it. But going into 1, that takes a little bit of cooperation.
I think going in 1 and coming off of 2
takes some cooperation.
Right.
So let me ask you then, how's that worked out this week? What have you observed?
Most of the time, it worked out pretty good. Most of the time, now, I was stuck on the league race. I was stuck on the outside. We had a restart, okay, and the guy gave me room the first time. I thought I was on the outside. He gave me room to go ahead and go into turn 1, but on the second restart, he didn't give it to me, and so I smacked the wall. So I'll let you know.
All right,
So
you sent me a replay clip you wanted me to load up so we could share the screen.
Right.
It's because you didn't have to do it on your own. So I've loaded it up for you, and I'm going to share my screen, and we'll we'll look over it. And would you want to do the proper way to do it first, or kind of what bad can happen? Let's do the proper successful method first. That's what I got up here.
Okay.
So
okay,
let's
that'd be
do
the
this.
second clip then.
Yeah. Yep. I've got it. Let me share my screen here. And
this is the proper way to go into turn. I feel for everybody to come out cleanly. This is how.
For the pass, the proper way for the pass to happen. Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
So is this like NFL segment? You make the call.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So this and we'll skip back to the car doing the pass. All right. So in this particular scene here, we got the 16 car pass and the 11 car. So the 16 car.
This is coming off of 4.
Is this coming off? Yeah. So we're in the middle of 3 and 4 right here. So the 16 car picks up a little speed and ends up getting a run in the middle of the straight stretch on 11. So he goes down here on the straight, about to start finish line. He gets beside him.
Okay, now
and
he's
the
got a
11
run
car, the 11 car lifts, right? I mean, that's basically what happens here. He gets up here and gets it right about here. He gets start finish line. He gets a door. He gets up and gets a bumper on him. He gets about halfway up, and then when he gets halfway up, the 11 car sees him, knows he's got to run, and the 11 car lifts. Right, Robert? That's what
Yeah,
we're
can you
seeing.
just make it like put it on play and let it go instead of
Yes, the 11 car lifts, and then he just ducks right in behind him, and they both cars can go single file now through the turn. And that was in slow motion.
Yeah, do it on actual play on real time.
All right, I'll go back and let you talk through it with everybody.
No,
Here we go.
no, it's not easier to see. It's not easier to see.
Yeah, here we go.
We got to make the noise.
Cale Yarborough used to do
Yeah,
that
see,
too.
yeah, he did. It's okay. He's got the move going on, and he's
Right there, the
right-
11 car lifted. Yep. Let him through. No problem.
Right. I don't
All
know where
right.
I don't know where Edwards finished on that race. Probably with that move, probably to help him out.
All right, so let's go back now. And we're going to look at what Robert would consider
Do
maybe
not.
not the right way to do it. All right. You ready?
Okay.
So this is the same scenario here.
Right.
And now they're
coming off
coming out
4.
of 2. Well, that's off 2 right there. So
Okay.
setting up for 3 and 4. All right. So now they're entering 3. And the 10 car is going to get a run on this, was it 17 there or something?
Yeah. Okay. He's getting close to he's getting close to
He's
it.
got his bumper in there.
Okay, he's at his quarter panel.
He's got position.
And it's okay. And it looks like to me that the 17 pulled down in front of the 10 car.
Well, he obviously didn't lift.
No, he did not lift.
Yeah, he obviously didn't lift to make that work.
All right, Brandon, you make the call. Who was wrong?
Let's see. From a glance, it's a little bit choppy in my view. It was like clear, like
Yes.
smooth video, but
Well,
from
here,
what
I'll
I
go
saw, it
slow
looked like
motion.
that.
Wait a minute, Brandon.
Well,
I'll go
that's
slow
what-
motion.
So they're side
Here.
by side, everything's
Here.
fine. But once again, to turn
Yeah.
1, I believe it looked like the 17 went down on the 10. We'll see what happens. The 10 has a right to be there. Like the 17 just went down too early. I'm not sure what the 17 was thinking there.
Yeah, neither did we.
He may not have knew he was there, you know,
Oh,
because,
he knew he was there.
Yeah.
he did. Okay.
And that is the do's and the do nots.
The do's and the do nots.
Yeah. Do you have another one, Mikey?
Just pick a random
maybe, I
car,
mean-
pick a random lap.
All right. Let's see here. Let me quit this. We'll go back to the camera just for a second. But so basically, so let's talk about this for a second as I load something.
See, I
else
wanted
up.
him to put that one in the Nuno's thing. Is on that last one. But
But
it was
so-
it was days past, so it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, so let me say this. So like here's the thing. When you're Tracy's talked a lot about this, the whole super high intensity training. We joke and talk about it here all the time. We've done some videos on it and stuff, but basically the first step is to keep your car clean. And it's just a matter, I like to say, not just at Darlington, anywhere. It's a matter of choices. And that's something I had to learn. I used to make a lot of aggressive, bad choices. And then Tracy got me to start making smarter choices on the track. And I've said the same thing to Scott before, and like just different guys about like, it's just about our choices, because especially on a fast track, like I'm really good at Darlington. I mean, that was a 155 lap league race there, Brandon, the other night. And I was by far, I knew I had a fast car. I raced clear from the back to the front and ended up winning the race. And so the whole time I was like, I got to keep my car clean.
I came further back than you did.
Well, I can't. Well, it's like I can't hit the wall. I don't want to touch another car the whole race. I don't want to scratch on my car. I don't want to dent on my car. Nothing that's going to make me slower. Nothing that's going to jeopardize, taking my car out to win the race. Because in these open races, you got 90 laps, right? And in that league race, we had 155. So who
Wow.
cares if I have to be a little cautious and lose a second on one lap to be cautious and avoid a wreck? I've got another 30, 40, 50, 80 laps to get that second back. And if I truly am the fastest car, I can do it. So for me, I would rather do the whole deal where if I see somebody beside me going to the one and I'm on the outside, I'm lifting every time, because there ain't no way I'm going too wide into one at Darlington, right? Because I want to keep my car clean. To me, that's the most important thing. And I don't want to wreck anybody else either. And by the way, if you are the outside car in that too wide situation at Darlington, you're always going to be the one at the short end of the stick. I don't think it could ever end up any other way. I mean, have you ever seen it end up good for somebody when there's a collision going into turn one and the inside car being the guy that gets the short end of the stick? I've never seen that.
Not on iRacing.
All my passing was done on the inside of turn 3. One, it was a slower corner, so I had to slow down, and that way I didn't crawl up the track. But everybody I passed was on the inside of turn 3 and just rolled the bottom. That's how I did it. But I never sent it in turn 1. Fortunately, I did pass one guy, which was your first example, where he knew right at the start finish line that I was coming and he backed out of it. We both went through the corner and went on our merry way. There was no problem.
Well, the lap cars, some of the lap cars, that's when you're passing them, sometimes that's what they gave you was the outside, but they were so slow you can still take it easy on around the corner, which you have to be careful.
Yep. Just you didn't want to send it was the big thing.
No.
All right, I got your next one all queued up for you, Robert. Let's see.
Oh, it's just funny. It's just
all right. So here's your next one all queued up for you. Let me see. Share.
This is another This is another. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. So here we go. So same thing, same gimmick. This time I'm in this one. This is my Alien Factory car number 6 car. Same situation, same
Beautiful
scenario,
car.
same outcome. Here we go. And this is 3 and 4.
Yeah, you're catching him.
They're about to start finish line. I go down for the pass.
Yep. And what I liked here is that you backed off.
I don't know, Brandon, your race control. Let's get back here and see what your thoughts are.
Oh, you missed it. I think it went. It missed what happened with the 17. See, when he's okay, you're on the inside, then you slow down and you let him have it.
It didn't look like there was any contact. The 17 overreacted.
Not if you talk to the 17. I heard that conversation. That's not how it went down.
You don't want to hear I don't think we want to hear the conversation.
It could have been net code.
I don't even think it was net code. There was
no
way.
The guy slid on his
there was
brakes.
no contact.
Yeah, there was a big gap there.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen net code be like 2 to 3 car widths.
Yeah, no, there's been some ridiculous net code. I'm not going to,
I know. I saw your car backfire.
defend that.
No, that's a loose. That's a loose.
Oh yeah, that's
condition
loose.
from
Like
slowing down too quick, and then you're
that's one of those type of
correction into the
things. Like
wall.
Up out
You
of the
want-
groove too.
he wanted to try to fight for the position. Drive stupid.
Yeah,
when
roger
stupid price
that.
is kind of
What
like
gets me is that they said that Mikey dive bombed him, and that's he was nowhere near him.
yeah. That's
That's
what it
kind of
looked like.
funny.
Mike even dove off the track and onto the apron there.
Well, no, passing on the apron.
I think this whole segment comes back to give and take.
Yeah.
And I keep my car clean 90% of the time just because.
That's because it's in the garage, Brian. You gotta get out of the garage.
That's true. But I keep my car clean, and that's helped me to just gain I rating to keep my car clean. So
Right.
I always preach, if somebody's faster than you, let them go. Lift early in the next corner, let them get by so they can get their run, and you don't lose any time.
Yeah, I think
Very little time.
I think my problems next week at Kansas is going to be coming off of 4. It kind of funnels down there. It can go as high as 3 wide coming off of that corner or even more. And then the next one will be coming off of 2. Yeah, people on the bottom is going to slide up, and the guys on the outside are going to try to hold their line, and that's where some accidents can happen. But on turn 4, there's a hump there. Some cars are not set up right, and they hit that hump, and they're gassing it, and they're going to go into the to the pit area. That's what I feel is going to happen. We'll see tomorrow.
Now, Mike,
Yeah.
I got one more example, and Brandon, I want you to, I don't know, did you see today's race at all? Did you happen to see where Joey Logano just ran right through William Byron and then took the lead? I mean, so Brandon, you as a race director, was that legit or not?
Legit.
I didn't get to see the race.
Oh,
No, you know, it was legit.
Oh, yeah, go back and review it. You'll have to look at, but he drove right through him. He center punched him like, and Mike used to do this off the record. But he
It
would
was
just,
legit.
he would
Pass.
just, yeah, he went behind him and just center punched him and ran him up the track into the wall, cut low, and went and won the race.
Well, you have to go back. You have to go back on Joey's part of it. Is that Joey was on the outside, coming off of 2, and he felt like Brian put him into the wall, and so we're going back to the white flag to go. 24, the 24, he took off and he just left everybody, and I think he just burnt his stuff up. And look, Joey finally caught up to him with the last lap. They're going to the white and caught up to him going in the corner. If you're in his cockpit, Joey barely hit him, but on the this TV part of it looked like I saw it go, oh my God, he just smacked him good and took the lead and took the white flag and won the race. But I think something happened. Joey is mad at him because he about put him in the wall coming off of 2. There was a retaliation going on.
I heard that in the interview. That's for sure. So, but
That
it's
sounds-
ironic. It's in Darlington.
Yeah, well,
But-
Tracy, that sounds almost as wild as some of the stuff that happens in iRacing, right?
Unbelievable.
But
Yeah.
something, maybe not next week, but maybe sometime down the road, somebody is going to get
There'll be
booted.
payback.
Yeah, get booted, but someone.
Yeah.
Maybe someone get loose.
You know, I really think the moral of the story here on this stuff is like, man, just protect your car, right? Like, what does it matter? So, like, let's say after something like this, there's a conversation and kind of a point the finger and blame game, you know, on one of these things we just watched, and in either one of them, where there's a blame game afterwards. Like, what does it matter who was at fault? Really, the point is you got wrecked race cars now, right? Like, let's make smarter choices. Like, that's
Right.
that's the thing that I'm getting at. Is let's protect our cars, and that's the moral of the story. I tell you what, if you don't know, if like this is your first time around at some of these tracks, like a lot of guys, it is their first time around at some of these tracks. You know, like I would suggest getting into some open practices, like before races and stuff, and getting in there and, you know, there's like 10, 12 guys in there, and actually, I mean, go out on fresh tires where guys have some warm ones that are already out there. So you'll obviously be making passes and go and try and see what works. Like, who cares if you go too wide into turn 1 and somebody gets wrecked during an open practice? Like, just learn.
On
You
a
know,
race, like I said, on a race, you're going to be even with the laps who run at 50 lap runs. Let the guy go and save your stuff, and you're going to be passing him in 15 laps.
Right. But you just need to learn. If you got teammates or buddies you race with, go in and practice passing each other, giving and taking a little bit of some of these tracks, especially the tough ones. I mean, there's some of the cookie cutter mile and a half where you can pretty much pass anywhere every lap. But some of these ones like Darlington and Dover and some of the places where it's a little tougher to pass, you know, kind of go and practice passing some. And see where you can and where you can't, and the places you need to protect your car, and kind of the places you need to watch out for. I think that would be helpful for guys coming to tracks for the first time, Robert.
Yeah. If you're not familiar, you've got a fast car. I would say if you got a fast car, and even a slow car will still finish the race quite well.
Robert,
yeah, 'cause-
can you run AI? Can you do AI at Darlington to, you know, so you're not taking
Oh,
people
that's
out?
No,
another good
No,
way.
Darlington,
Oh.
no, there was no Darlington track for AI. So I looked.
Well,
Okay.
hey, but there is a pack somewhere. Robert uses that all the time, don't you, Robert? Like when
Yeah.
you're practicing over the week, I say, Robert, what are you doing? You say, oh, I'm running an AI race.
Well, I'm doing that for a couple of reasons. How much the track temperature, how much tape can I run, and then also it's a lot easier to run 40 laps or whatever, or 30, 40 laps with the AIs. And then you can look at your tire wear after 30, 40 laps, how you're doing. It's all about tire wear, and then how much tape you can put on there,
Right. And it's a
plus
good
have a good
tool.
setup.
It's a good tool that you use it like that, because like I say, with what Mike's saying, with the new people that are not familiar with the track, that's one more thing that they could do if it would have been available, is to try the AI. And then if you do get in a wreck, you just reset it and go on your merry way. But I want to share this too. So, we're saying try this stuff. Why don't we just share the information, since it's Darlington? There's not a lot of places to pass, and we've shown a couple of examples. But like I say, for me, on a start or restart, when I'm on 4 fresh tires, I guarantee I'm going to be rolling the bottom through 3 and 4 if I'm going to take a chance on
Absolutely.
somebody, because you only got 2 or 3 laps that those tires are going to be good, and you'll be able to do it. But patience is everything. So that's the thing you need to practice. And the only other place I know is sliding them underneath on turn 1, and that one you are going to come up, like Robert said. So if that car even remotely is going to be there, don't send it in turn 1. But 3 and 4, you can roll the bottom. There's a lot of traction, and you do almost got to get down on the apron. So if you are practicing it, watch the seams, watch the lines, and try it, and you can do it successfully. I've done it a lot of times on restarts. Nobody gets hurt. You come out of there and you just keep racing.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to Daniel Blair. He's one of our subscribers. He's also viewing the podcast right now. He's been sending this message back and forth, participating. He was watching the video of the 2 incidents. Said, "Oh yeah," he said the 17 had no hope of making that turn through 1 at that speed. He also we were talking about. We were talking there about doing like an open practice or something to where you get in there and try some of these passes and see what you can do. He made a comment, and it's absolutely true. He said basically what Daniel said is it was hard to find an open practice this week with more than just 4 or 5 cars in it. Race participation was way down. And that's kind of what we were saying. Yeah, I told him, yeah, race participation is way down at Darlington every time. That's true. And one thing iRacing can do, so if anybody at iRacing is listening to this, or somebody complains about us and they got to go listen to the podcast to kind of get the whole thing, and they accidentally hear this, since participation is down for Darlington, that would be a really good place to have AI. But as Robert found out, the AI pack wasn't available for Darlington. So
I thought you were going to say put dirt on it.
No, yeah, oh yeah, that's how you fix Bristol, right? Put dirt on it.
It all depends on what time of day you're looking for the race. Just before we came on, there was it split. Darlington split. So,
but that's not happening nearly as often as usual. And as Daniel was saying, a lot of the practice session participations was down too.
Oh, I don't understand that. Why aren't these guys practicing?
Because nobody's running, because race participation is down too. All I'm saying is that this would have been a great week to make sure they had the AI pack of all tracks. Darlington would be a great track to make sure that AI is available for, so guys can get extra practice in with other cars without wrecking into.
No, I'm just saying. So usually I can go in there and on not just Darlington but other tracks. You'd be in there and there'll only be 15 cars there maybe, and then you're gonna go in there and now it's split. So where are these guys practicing at? You don't see them nowhere, and then you got 60 some people signed up for the race.
Right. Yeah, well, Robert, if everybody,
I understand
if everybody was good like you, they wouldn't need to practice.
Oh, I practice all the time.
I know you're always racing AIs. You race AIs,
well,
you race.
The only reason Robert practices AI because he likes to door Tyler Hudson in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Robert, when you do AI, do you get a name? What you get to put a name by the drivers and all the other cars? So like
iRacing does it. iRacing does that for you. You get to race some of the other guys.
Yeah. It's all the iRacing staff. So you can door whoever you want.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you what.
I thought maybe you custom name somebody like if you're mad at me one week, you custom one of the cars, Mikey, and then you can just ram it real hard and take it out. Take your.
I got the pole at Martinsville on the AIs, and I'm taking off. that was the worst mistake I ever made. Now, these guys will run you over. They don't care where you're at. The
Oh,
AI,
AIs are pretty
the
rough.
AI just
Yeah, they're
destroyed
rough.
me.
The
They
AIs have
destroyed
low
me.
safety.
They're
rating,
always
is what
in
you're
super
saying.
high intensity training. I know that.
But usually, what I use it for is for my speed and how well I can and hold the line from not drifting up and stuff like that, and in tire wear, where to lift and stuff.
Robert, if you want to hold the line, put your drink down. Then that way we can use both hands.
yeah.
Yeah, stop
Long
drinking
time
coffee
ago,
when
that
you're
was
trying to
good.
race.
Well, that's I don't.
Hey,
do
Brandon,
stuff.
is that a race control penalty? Robert drinking coffee with one hand and trying to race with the other.
Yeah,
It's
does he
tea.
need a
It's
cup
tea.
holder? I
It's
guess
tea.
is what it is. Yeah.
I'm
Does he need a
drinking
cup
tea.
holder?
I saw nothing.
I'm drinking tea.
Never
I-
saw it in tech.
Well, look at the big old jug you're drinking there.
Mhm. Absolutely, man. It's a long podcast. I got
Yeah,
to stay
well,
hydrated.
Well, speaking of the long podcast, I think that's all we got for tonight, Trace. I think that pretty much wraps this up. We got Robert's segment in, and he's been dying for me to do all week long.
Yeah, it's not going to happen every week.
No, I know, but yeah, there was just
Robert, you're
tough.
dasting our hopes.
Yeah, we need to focus on you every week, Robert. I'll tell you what you need to do. You need to start going out and brainstorming sessions for us to have. And,
Well, I do that. I do
yeah,
that.
yeah, and I'll put you in charge anytime you come up with one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
As long as you record it.
there you go. But Brandon, man, it's been great having you. I tell you what, we learned a lot about league racing tonight, a lot about race control, and there's a lot of people in iRacing that haven't been exposed to the leagues, the league.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing
yeah,
that.
so
For sure.
appreciate that. Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
you're welcome, man. Will you come back anytime and just be a little easy on me in the next league race there.
No promises.
Yeah, and me too. Go gentle.
Brian,
So what's the next track? Where are we going
Darlington.
next?
no, we're at
Darlington.
Darlington, Scott.
No, we're not-
Oh, Kansas.
Kansas.
no. For us, it's Kansas, but for our league race, I don't know. I can't remember.
It's
Iowa or
Kansas,
something.
ain't it?
Texas.
No,
No,
we're off for
Texas
2
or
weeks.
something.
It's not the Irwindale
Yeah, we got a
figure
week
eight.
off and then it's Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Brian Stewart, you got anything you want to say as we close this thing out?
I'm just kind of curious. I know Tracy asked earlier, is there any other hobbies outside of racing you have? Because it seems like everybody who's we've had on iRacing is their life.
You missed it.
It seems like it's been so long ago, like an hour ago.
Yeah, you missed that.
No,
part.
I mean, if you had any hobbies outside of that, I know you talked about having iRacing as a hobby, but if you
You're
had
talking about
anything-
drag
He's going to
racing?
the church.
No,
he
he's
was putting
talking
the
about-
sound system in the church. I know that.
And drag
Brian's
racing.
asked about
hunting, anything
Yeah,
like
helping out
that.
with
Brian's asked about anything other than racing.
Oh, okay.
Any kind of racing, real life, iRacing, anything other than that.
Yeah, outside of racing.
Yeah, for the most part, it's mainly involved in church, and sometimes, like, I know, like, we did church leagues like softball or different stuff like that.
Right.
That's fun
How
stuff.
competitive are you and your brother? I guess is what he's trying to ask.
I wonder. Put two twins next to each other.
All right. Oh, that's double
yeah.
trouble right there. I know.
Oh, yeah.
I know for a fact.
That's
Sometimes we
amazing.
can.
That's amazing. We got two identical twins on the podcast right now.
Well,
Or
let me, I'll tell you what,
two representative, like a representative from two sets of identical twins. I'll put it that
Brandon,
way.
I'll share a story. You share a story. So, we were in grade school one time, and a teacher grabbed me instead of my brother and drug me into her class. So I was in the wrong class all day. That's my twin story right there.
Our first day at we went to a trade school for a computer network engineering. He had we had an English class, like same teacher, but he had it like one period before me. And without coordinating, like we had almost like everything looked the same, except like I was wearing like blue stuff, he's wearing red stuff. That's typically how we differentiate each other. And without planning it, we sat in the exact same seat and everything. It's just like, wait, didn't I just see you? And I'm like, what? No. And then it clicked, and I'm like, oh, you probably saw my brother, because I didn't even know what class he had. I'm like, do you have a Stephen Davis in your class? He's like, oh, wait, what?
Now, see, on my side, my mom used to dress us identical too. So we went to school, we had the same outfits on, and that was part of the confusion, I'm sure.
That was us
So-
in elementary. The teacher
Yes.
said we weren't allowed to be in the same classes. They did everything they could to separate us.
Yes, yep, that's what we went through too. So anyhow, good to know, bud. Appreciate it.
Scotty, what you got? You got any words of wisdom for everybody as we close out tonight?
No, not really.
Okay, good deal. And Robert, what about you? Final thoughts?
I have no thoughts. Not at all.
Hey,
My
you know
mind is
what, Robert?
completely blank.
I actually believe you when you say that.
Yes. It is empty. It is very empty right now.
And the last words of the night before we close the podcast out go to the Admiral.
Man, I'm just looking forward to next week. I really don't have anything other than I'll be glad to be leaving Darlington. That's for sure. I've got ran over there so many times. I felt like a stepchild.
I'm gonna miss it. Oh, I love Darlington, man. I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah, I can't farm my rating.
Who are we
there
going
like
to
you
have
can.
next week? Who are we going to have next week?
Next week is Jeff Maconi. He was going to be on the night and canceled, and I reached out to Brand. I was wanting to do.
Thank you, Brian.
I was wanting to do somebody doing leagues and stuff like that here in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And as soon as Jeff told me he was having trouble getting back home in time to do it, I immediately reached out to Brand. I was like, I'll just do it. We'll do the league and stuff that kind of podcast. We'll do it tonight. And Brandon graciously said, yeah, I can do it. So that worked out great. So Jeff rescheduled for next week. So next week we'll have Jeff Maconi. He's the owner of Maconi Setup Shop. He also gave you, our viewers, a promo code we put down in all the videos. That promo code is Area 51 with no space, just Area 51 all together. You type that in at checkout at Maconi Setup Shop, and that will get you 10% off of any of your purchases there at Maconi Setup Shop, except for season passes. So any subscription stuff, it doesn't work, but any single purchases, which I would assume would be coaching, single setup purchases, any of that stuff, that gets you 10% off every time you check out at Maconi Setup Shop. So Jeff Maconi will be here with us next week. He'll tell us about all the cool stuff they got going on. So I am looking forward to next week's podcast as well. This one's been a great one. And like we've said many, many times so far, Brandon, thank you for being with us for this one tonight. If you guys have not done so yet, I'd like to appreciate all the viewers. We have had a lot of live viewers, had participation in the chat tonight. And, we usually get double or triple the amount of viewers on demand later on in the week, or later tonight, later on the week, than we get during the podcast. So far during the podcast, we've had 33 viewers tonight. So we appreciate all you guys tuning in and viewing. That's 33 viewers with an average watch time tonight. Make that 34 viewers tonight with an average watch time of 15 minutes per viewer. So that is a lot of watch time tonight. We appreciate all of you guys that have been watching tonight and support the channel. And then, like I said, we get sometimes double and quadruple that amount of views in the podcast after we close it out, which is what we're doing now. So, guys, if you're watching right now on the podcast and you have not done so yet, hit that subscribe button. Helps our channel grow. It's much appreciated by us here at Area 51. There's also a bell icon down there. You can click that anytime we go live with any of our podcasts. Our Monday night Strength of Field broadcast, where me and the team here at Area 51, we broadcast those races for you guys, and we commentate them for you. We got those on Monday nights. You'll get notified of that stuff and any of our great on-demand content, and also our live streams. We live stream from the cockpit. You can, I'm laughing. Cody Trinity just sent me a message. Anyway, anytime we put any of our great on-demand content up, you guys will get notified of that. So if you want to get notified, hit that bell icon. And really, honestly, the best thing you can do for us, if you really, really want to help us, the best thing you can do is our on-demand content, which is like our how to build setup videos, our driver development videos, our technical how-to videos, those on-demand content stuff. If you find something, you say, you know what, guys, thank you. That really helped me. Like, I learned something from that. I learned how to get better tire wear. I learned how to set my wheel up properly in iRacing. Anytime you learn how to do something from one of our videos, you say, you know what, I want to share this because other people might like it too. That's the best thing you can do to help us here, is to get our content out in front of as many iRacers as possible. To help them as well. We're trying to build a community of people of iRacers helping other iRacers. People helping people.
Let's say one thing right now is that Brian's is going for an alt account, and he's doing pretty good. I forget what car he's
late
driving.
Models. I think it's late model racing,
and he's doing real good. And he is giving these guys pointers of making the corners, and I like to see that happen more often.
I try to help everybody out that can makes the community better.
That's our main purpose and goal here. Our mission statement here. Area 51 is we are just simply iRacers just like you, and we're trying to help the community. And so what you can do to help us in the community is share these things, the on-demand stuff that helps you. Just share it on Facebook, on Twitter, and Discord, Instagram, like anywhere you can share the video to as many iRacers as you can that needs help. Not only does it help them, but it helps us. And that's actually the best way that you can help us and the community. So we highly encourage that as well.
And if you have any suggestions, let us know so we can make the content.
Yeah, shoot it down in the shoot us a comment on one of the videos. Give us a suggestion that way. We got a Facebook page, Tracy. It's if you go to facebook.com/Area 51 Alien Factory, it'll take you right to our Facebook page. In fact, yesterday I just created a Facebook group that I linked to the Facebook page as well. So now we can have a community where we're sharing stuff back and forth and that with each other and with the people who are in the community and you guys with each other. So yeah, give us feedback there. So you can give us feedback on our Facebook page. You can make a comment on the video and give us feedback. You can go into the live chat on the podcast and give us feedback. And if you guys hit us up with a great idea, we'll be glad to make it. I know somebody was talking VR headsets with me, Trace, and said, hey, if I go buy one of those G2 headsets like you got, will you do a setup video for me and show me how to set it up? And I said,
there you go.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I said, just tell me when you order it and I'll do the video before you even get it in the mail. So the video will be out. So the day you get it, you can have the setup video to help you. So that's the kind of stuff we're doing. Suggestions are always welcome. Please feel free to give them. We'll do the best we can to help you out. I just want to shout out Cody Trelindi. He sent a message in the live chat a couple minutes ago. He says, this podcast made me famous. I don't know about that, Cody. I think being the #1 point leader in championship points and all of B Open is what's made you famous. But I know Cody was on the track here the other day, and I think Robert, you were in the race with him, and people were asking, hey, Cody, were you on that Alien Factory podcast there this last week? And he said, yeah, that was me.
Yep.
So, guys, that's going to be it for the podcast. Thank you so much for being with us and tuning in with us. We always have a blast each and every Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'd like to thank our guest, Brandon Davis, for being with us tonight. And then for the man, the myth, the legend, Robert Cook, the Admiral, Tracy Rumschlag, Scooter, Scotty Stevens, and Breezy Brian Stewart. That's the whole cast of crew. And I'm Mike Howerton. We are so glad you tuned in. Yeah, Mr. Excitement. So glad y'all tuned in here with us tonight. And as always, we will see you in the next
one.
Absolutely. And that's it for us tonight.